Will your Airbnb listing cover monthly expenses? This is a very commonly asked question, and you should ask yourself this question if you're trying to get started with Airbnb. Stay tuned for this video, and I'm going to share with you my experience and break down some Airbnb statistics for you all and hopefully answer your question. What's going on YouTube? I'm a rental arbitrage Airbnb host from the Midwest. In this video, I'm addressing a very important question that you should ask yourself, and I'm sure many of you guys have thought of it. You guys have asked yourselves this. I've heard it from my students, I've heard it from people in my Facebook group, and I'm sure it's just a very commonly asked question amongst anyone trying to get started with Airbnb. And that is, will you cover expenses? Will you generate enough income with your Airbnb listing to cover important expenses such as rent, utilities, internet, trash service? All these expenses are very important, and these are all things you're signing on to, you're signing up to. When you get your listing, when you finally sign that lease, you are now committed to paying that monthly rent. And that's something that a lot of you have to consider. Like, you need to understand that you're gonna have to make that payment. You're gonna have to make the payment for the internet and cable. These are just to name a few. And this is the rental arbitrage method, of course. I've heard this asked many times, and this is a question that I asked myself as well. It was something that I've thought about, but I didn't really focus on it too much. And that's kind of why I want to share with you guys my experience. So my experience with it is I didn't really know if I was going to have success with it. It's something that I just knew I had to do, I had to try. I made sure that I had a 1-year lease. Therefore, if it was a losing, business venture, if it's something that I wasn't gonna come out on top with, I could cut my losses at 1 year. This is something that I negotiated with the landlord. I told him, I was like, okay, if I do this, give me just 1 year. If it works, great, I'll keep being your tenant. And if not, you'll just have to find somebody else, essentially. He was open with the idea, and we built a lot of trust between the two of us. I've had some landlords in my comment section saying that they would never, ever allow this to happen in their property. So for all the negative and pessimistic landlords out there, there's a handful of people who are actually willing to work with you and willing to give you a shot at this. So the message I want to convey in this video is that that's a fear factor. Like, the idea that you won't cover expenses, that's a limiting belief, and that's a fear that you're instilling in your mind that doesn't necessarily have to be there. Because honestly, you'll never know unless you try. That's one thing that I kept telling myself. I was like, okay, here I go, here I'm signing this lease, I'm getting started with this business model. I'm not gonna know if I'm gonna cover expenses until I actually try it. And I've made enough videos going over my monthly breakdown with you guys. It comes down to a few factors. You need to consider that your listing has to be placed in a great location. Location is key with this business model. That's something that you have to put a lot of time and effort into, is finding that perfect property, finding that great market that you want to get started in. Will you cover expenses if you have a property that is optimized and is in a great location? You absolutely will. And hearing from a lot of different hosts, hearing from anyone who's been hosting for a certain amount of time, they all say that they're doing great. Their calendars are booked month to month, back to back, and they're having a great experience with it all. Therefore, everyone that I've talked to that's doing this the right way, they're having massive success with it. So coming from me, coming from my experience, do I cover expenses on a monthly basis? Do I profit? Absolutely. And do other hosts who I've talked to profit and cover expenses? Absolutely. So you have to ask yourself, why is that a question that is commonly occurring? Like, why does that question come up? That question that you ask yourself may be the only reason that you never get started with this. And I want to make sure that you guys understand that there's an opportunity there for anyone who wants to take action on it right now. So my experience with it was just taking action, and I've mentioned this a lot in my other videos. You guys have to find that confidence in yourselves and that belief system, because that's all it comes down to. If I never thought that it could work, then I would never have started. So guys, take this from me right now. You guys see where I'm at in my position right now with my listing. All I did was take action. Did I 100% know if it was going to cover expenses? No, I did not. But I still did it anyway, and that's kind of what separates people who actually do something in life and people who just go through the motions every single day and they dream and they never do anything with it. Now that I've shared a little bit of my experience with getting started as an Airbnb host, and now that I've answered that question that yes, I'm able to profit on a monthly basis because it is such a lucrative opportunity, I'm going to jump into some statistics revolving the home sharing space and Airbnb as a whole. Okay guys, let's jump into the statistics of what potential an Airbnb host has on the platform. As you can see here, there are a total of 150 million users on Airbnb. They use this mainly through mobile phone access and internet access. There's 2 million people staying each night on Airbnb alone. So one thing I want to make very clear is that there are multiple home sharing websites. This is just Airbnb statistics. I'm sure any of the other home sharing websites have similar statistics as far as growth and as far as the ratio of hosts to guests. There's a total of 6 million Airbnb listings worldwide. These 6 million listings are all hosted in between 650,000 hosts. So guys, 650,000 Airbnb hosts host 6 million listings worldwide. That right there is just a shocker for me, which is why I think this opportunity is very lucrative as of right now. And the home sharing industry is only growing, it's only expanding, it's ready to take over the entire hotel and accommodation industry. As things move on, you guys can kind of see how that's already happening, and hotels are looking at this, they're like, oh, this is legit a problem for us. So guys, if you want to be a part of this, if you want to be a part of the 6 million plus listings on Airbnb, you guys can take advantage of that without a worry, and you guys should not worry about covering expenses, because that's just going to happen as soon as you get your listing up. I've told you guys my story of how I was able to book 3 stays my first day on Airbnb. I've heard similar stories, and a lot of that has to do with my market, right, where I'm at here. It's a very small amount of supply, and I'm a part of that. So I'm able to take in this volume, right, these 150 million potential customers that you have for your business. So let's go over some general statistics real quick. Like I said before, there's 150 million users worldwide. And one thing I want to really point out here is Airbnb offers listings in over 191 countries, which gives you complete access to going global with your business and with what you have going on. You're not limited to just your state. You're not limited to just your city. You can go and take this anywhere in the world because there's a volume of people moving in. The accommodation space is huge. I always like to say, look at the hotel industry, how they're so big. I know I live in small town America. Every interstate exit is just littered with hotels. There's hotels left and right. There's 6 massive hotels just like right down the street from me. I live by the interstate, and they're all able to remain profitable. And that's something that I kind of want to make sure very clear to all of you. I've said this to a few of my students in the past. Airbnb is taking market share away from hotels, and you guys always wonder if there's going to be a saturated market. You guys always question the saturation of the market, and like, look at how hotels remain profitable. They're there side by side competing with each other, but they're still able to pay their expenses, and they're still able to cover expenses from the volume of people coming through. People will always travel. They're always going to have to see their family. They're always going to want to go stay on vacations. And therefore, you are just the middleman here making the end meet between someone who wants a place to stay and providing that place to stay. Of course, there's a large percentage of growth rate for Airbnb and home sharing in general, and that's why I'm going to jump over to the vacation rental industry, which is quoted here as an extremely lucrative and growing at a rapid rate in the last few years. So more people are taking advantage of this opportunity, and that's why I want to make this video right now, because a lot of you guys wanting to get started are questioning the fact that, am I going to cover expenses? Well guys, that's all in your control, all in whether you do a great job with your market research and the way you manage your listing and price your listing. That all has a factor, that all plays a role in whether or not you're going to be profitable. But guys, from what you can see, there's a massive potential for you to grow and for you to have a profitable business month to month, year to year. The entire vacation rental industry as a whole is just massive. It's booming. According to this website, there are 23,000 vacation rental companies in the US. That's pretty awesome, and that's just growing as time goes on. And you guys can see here that the amount of users in millions is going up over time. One of the reasons that this industry is just growing as a whole is because more smartphone users are using Airbnb instead of going through hotels. And therefore, you guys can just look at the generational shift. The baby boomers are now getting to the point where they're too old to do anything. Millennials are going to be the next ones in control. Millennials are using Airbnb more than they are at hotels. And then Generation Z is going to come through and give you that longevity. They're going to be the ones using Airbnb more than ever. And therefore, I think the growth potential is there, and the hosting potential is there for anyone who wants to get started. Thank you guys so much, and I hope this brought some light to you guys. Once again, look at these numbers one last time. If this is one of the things that's holding you back, there's that question of whether or not you're going to remain profitable. I think you have nothing to worry about. From my experience and from speaking to many other hosts across the states and across the world, they're not hurting to pay the bills each and every month. And therefore, guys, take advantage of this opportunity while you can. I'm not sure how long this is going to last. You know, maybe it's going to reach a point of oversaturation, but time will tell. For right now, I want you guys to take action and make this happen for yourselves. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and thank you for the support. I hope I answered this question for you guys, and I hope I gave you that little extra push of reassurance that yes, you'll have success with this as long as you get started. Home sharing is in a place right now where it's just taking over the entire market share. It's projected to just completely take out hotels, and the entire space is in a constant revolving growth phase, which I think is beneficial to anyone who gets started. As you guys saw, the numbers of the amount of hosts compared to guests, they're crazy. The amount of people actually hosting and taking advantage of this opportunity, it's so small on the scale of how many people are actually on the platform as guests. Guys, this is still an emerging market. This is still something that's relatively new, and it's shocking the entire industry. Therefore, any of you guys who are on the fence about whether or not you want to start hosting, Just watch this video, look at these numbers, and you make that decision for yourself. In the meantime, if any of you guys want to learn more about the Airbnb model, go through and watch the rest of my videos. I make tons of content revolving this business model in this space. You guys are more than welcome to go and check that out if you guys want more questions answered. Once again, thank you all for watching. Like this video and share this with anyone that you think could use this information or could see it as valuable. And I'll see you guys all in the next one.